What's up? It's Ben from nextlevelguitar.com. Thanks for joining us today. We're bringing you another one of our Inspired by lessons. And today we're going to take a look at some cool Texas classic rock riffing using combination of the slide and some fretted notes. So we're going to have a lot of fun today. Get your slide out, get your guitar ready, and we'll get started. Hey, before we continue, take a look at the text box below. Click on that link there, and we're going to send you a free video lesson and a coinciding ebook. It's not available on YouTube. It's only available through nextlevelguitar.com. So take a look at that and we'll continue on. Okay, so let's take a look at this in two parts. Let's learn our basic riff first, and then we'll take a look at some of the things that we can do with our slide to add a little bit of flavor, add some fills to our riff here. So I'm going to be riffing in an E minor sort of pentatonic thing. We'll just break down that riff for you to start. I'm going to take my slide away, and we'll take a look at what the riff is here. Nice and slow. Here it comes. Okay, so breaking down that riff a little bit, we're on the 5th string, 5th fret, playing 5, 7, open 6th string, and from here on out we're kind of bouncing between a fretted note and the open string. So backing up a little bit, 5, 7, open, now up to the 4th string, 5th fret, open 6th, 7th, 5th fret, open 6th, 5th fret, 5th string, open, 7, open. Now what's great about that is once you work that up to speed, if you throw in some palm muting on the low open E string that we're hitting, and then don't palm mute any of the other notes, the accents, you're basically playing a riff with accents that are built right in. So you're muting on the low open string, and all the fretted notes that you hit, you can give those a little bit more emphasis simply by not palm muting them, and it gives it a little bit more pop to the riff. Nothing wrong with the riff if we mute the whole thing, but you can really hear the difference if I mute the whole thing compared to what we just did. And then without the muting or with the accents put back in. So that's our riff, pretty straightforward. What we can do now is start to have some fun with that by adding some fills with our slide in between. We can create a little space in the riff, leave out the second half of the riff, and fill that back in with some cool stuff on the slide. So let's grab our slide, and when I play this, I'm going to have it on my second finger here, so I'm still free to execute my riff with either my index or my pinky, or my index or my ring finger. If you wear your slide on your ring finger, you should still be able to play that riff just fine with your index or your pinky. So work that out, maybe practice it with your slide on before you try the fills, and make sure that you can make that comfortable before you add on to that. Normally when I would play this sort of riff, I might be playing it in an open E tuning, but I have my guitar in standard tuning, and you can play it in standard tuning too, and we can still take advantage of some of the several strings ringing out together that you get from an open tuning. So first I want to show you some cool chords that you can use with your standard tuning that we can use as a fill for our riff here. So let's take a look at a couple of 3-string groupings that we can use to create some chords and use as fills in between our riff. Like we said, we're going to create a small little space in our riff and fill that in with some cool slide riffing. So first of all, we can get a minor chord by playing the top 3 strings. I'm going to play these at the 12th fret. I'm playing in the key of E, so when I play at the 12th fret and play the top 3 strings, I get an E minor chord. And of course, we'll take advantage of that slide and slide up into it, moving into our fret. How do I know that where to go, or how do I know, what if I want a different chord? What if I want a B minor? What do I do? Well, I just want to work out where my root note is on that string grouping. And in this case, I'm targeting my first string note. That's an E note, so I'm going to use that as the building block of my chord, or my root note of my chord. So if I play across all three strings, and I'm targeting that first string note, making that an E, that's going to give me an E minor chord. If I want to use what I'm learning in today's lesson maybe for a different song or a different groove, and I want to play, for example, a B minor, I'll just want to work out where my B note is, and I can use that same grip or that same chord voicing to get a B minor. We can also get a major chord using strings 2, 3, and 4. We're again in the key of E, so let's take a look at where we would find an E major chord to use as a fill. In this case, it's going to be on the 9th fret, and I'll show you how to find that as well. For that grouping, for strings 2, 3, and 4, major chord, our root note's going to be located on the 3rd string. So same concept, I'm just going to work out where my E note is. I'll count up and find my E note and build my chord around that. So if we know that, we can use this for other applications too. If I want to play, again, for example, a B major, maybe I'm playing a different song, a different groove, in a different key, I can find a B note on string 3 and then apply my slide there. Now we have two different chords to use, and we can use these as a fill for our basic riff. Let's see how we can take what we just learned and use it to add on to our basic riff. Answer the first part of our riff with just sliding into a chord. Kind of takes that riff to a whole new level. Expanding on that approach, we can start to play some slide licks in between. Now normally I like to play slide guitar without a pick, but for this riff we need to have that attack. We need to have that picking sound for the first part of it. So we want to develop some strategies to be able to play and mute our strings when we play slide, even though we have our pick in hand. Let's take a look at a really cool bluesy lick that we can add to this riff, and also some of the strategies for muting that using some hybrid picking. So first I'll break down the riff for you, and then we'll take a look at how we can mute that out. So our slide lick, we already know our riff, so let's start by breaking down the frets that we're playing on our slide riff. I'm starting up here at the 17th fret of the 2nd string, and I'm actually going to demonstrate this first. Let's do it without the slide, just so we can locate our frets. 17, 15, down to string 3, 16, 12, 14 on string 4. This works out a little differently when we play it with the slide, of course, but our basic notes are Sometimes playing it without your slide will help you with your targeting once you add that slide back in. Now with the slide. Slide from 17 to 15. Now, this is where it gets a little bit different than if we fret it. I want to slide partially into my 12th fret. Not all the way there. Kind of a steady glissando up. I'm starting below the 12th fret and gradually increasing, going from left to right. And finally resolving here at my 14th fret. Now, let's talk about muting our strings out. Going back to why I play fingerstyle, it's because I can mute some of the strings that I don't want to ring as I'm sliding across. Again, we don't have that luxury with this riff because we really want to get that attack of the pick on the first part of the riff. So what we can do is use some of our free-floating fingers to help deaden some of the strings. What I'm using is my second finger here. I'm not going to hold that up. I don't want to flip you guys off. But I'm using the second finger here to deaden the strings. Let me turn the guitar this way so you can see even better what I'm talking about there with the middle finger. Basically, anytime you change strings, go ahead and use that second finger, the middle finger, to deaden the string that you were just on. For this riff, we're going from string 2 to string 4, so every time I jump a string, I'll bring that guy in to help deaden. What happens if I don't do that? Too much extra noise. We don't want that. So that's why the muting is going to help out so much with playing some single note runs when you're playing slide. Something to take a look at. Okay, so there we have it. We have a nice little riff that we can play. We have some cool ideas that we can expand on with our slide. So I hope you guys can take this and do your own thing with it. That's what our Inspired by lessons are all about. Take some of the ideas that you're learning here from nextlevelguitar.com and apply them to your own playing and see what you can come up with as well. So don't forget to visit our website, once again, nextlevelguitar.com. We have over 1,000 video lessons there for players of all styles, all skill levels, beginner on up through advanced. So take a look at that, and we'll see you back here next time.